Alright, so this is a trail review, kind of the Honda Talon 2019, I believe. I do not know everything about it, but it's the 1000R. We actually did a rental for this at Moab, Utah. And we rented this, and obviously it has some upgrades that it will not come with if you buy it brand new. It has wheels and tires as an upgrade. It has mirrors, and it has blinkers because it is a street legal vehicle. Other than that, everything else, as far as I understand, comes with it. The nets, all that come with it. But as far as how it handles and drives, it's just awesome. It's way better than a Polaris Razor, and in me and my dad's opinion. That is one thing that's really nice, is this does not have a belt. I don't know if you guys have ever had an experience with a Polaris Razor. I don't know why I said that weird, but with a Razor, they go through belts quick, and I don't know about, and I can't say anything about Can-Am or the other companies that use belts, but belts suck. And this is a full-on real car transmission. As far as I understand, there is no belts. It's just basically an automotive transmission and an automotive engine. So it is super reliable. Obviously, it's Honda reliable. The transmission actually has a automatic and manual mode. So on the buttons, as you saw, that says AT and MT. That's automatic and manual mode. And then it also has a sport mode, which we did not figure out exactly what it does, but it's there. And as far as the automatic and manual transmission mode go, if you have it in automatic transmission, the paddle shifters, yes, it has paddle shifters, because of the manual transmission. The paddle shifters you can still use when in automatic transmission. So if you're in automatic transmission and you're climbing something and you just really need to get in a lower gear, just pull on the gear down paddle and it shifts. It will kind of after a little bit pop back into regular automatic. If you don't want it to pop back into automatic and continue to shift gears for itself, then you need to switch to manual transmission mode. As far as modes go, there is also a park assist. I don't know exactly what it's called, but from what I understand, it is a button that you push and it locks up all the brakes and the transmission, so the vehicle will not move whatsoever, like if you need to really brake or whatever. And also Drivetrain, not only is the fact that it's a real automatic transmission with no belts or anything awesome, it has, I think it's a all-the-time locker in the back. It does have a locker in the back. Even when we had it in two-wheel drive, the locker was still engaged. I do not know if there is a way to disengage it or engage it, but it was always engaged, whether in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, which makes it super easy and nice at Moab. We did 90% of the stuff there with two-wheel drive, and then the rest was like we had to have four-wheel drive because the front tires would not get up the obstacle. But as soon as we put it in four-wheel drive, it just climbs up anything you could possibly want it to, as you can see in these videos. But when you put it in four-wheel drive, it still has a locked rear end. I do not know if there is a way to lock the front diff, but when you are in four-wheel drive, there is an X on the front differential, and there is an X on the rear differential. The rear differential X is shaded in because that means that the diff is locked. The front is not shaded in, which means it is open. So that, I don't know if it means that it indicates you can lock the front or not, but that's just what the gauge cluster thing shows. But that's it for about like the locking stuff. The rear is always locked. The front is open as far as I can tell, and it gets around just perfectly with having that rear diff locked. It helps a lot. And then as far as also drivetrain goes, engine braking on this thing, in a driver's words, is amazing because I was not driving this. In the words of the person that was driving it, the engine braking is amazing. Also, at low RPM crawling is awesome when you're in low range, but it does take a little bit getting used to just the low RPMs. And then also the shifting, it takes a little bit of getting used to because it shifts so often, and it is also hard to predict if it is going to shift at the right time or not. So if you're climbing up something and you have to think about if it is going to shift down or not. But that is one thing that's nice about the paddle shifters is even if you're on automatic, if you feel like you need to shift down, you can shift down. And in the sand in four-wheel drive, the handling is amazing when you're going fast. And just also, along with the handling, the suspension just feels great. It's it's just on par or maybe even better with just like the current razors or like the razor the last razor I've rode in. It just soaks up the bumps just great, and it's just so much fun to just be going fast in the sand and just go through the whoops and just barely even feel it. And then and then also like onto how this thing looks. This thing looks awesome. This is the best looking side by side on the market in my opinion. I mean, Can-Ams to me they're kind of weird looking. Arctic Cats, who the crap likes Arctic Cats? I mean, seriously, those things are so ugly. The new ones are getting better, but the old ones were really ugly. I haven't actually seen a new one in a long time, so they might even be way better. But the really old ones, they're ugly. Um, Even the Yamaha YXZs, I've been told and like heard that they handle really well and stuff, but I don't know if they don't have a belt or do have a belt. But even those things, they look ugly almost. And I do like the way that the razors look, but everybody has a razor, and just this thing is just cool looking. It has its own like look, and it's got like the quote unquote aggressive look if you're looking head on. And just it just looks awesome. GoPro beeping in the background. Don't come on, GoPro. But also just like with big tires, the tires that are on it are like 32s, 31s, maybe 33s, something somewhere in between that. Um, they're pretty big tires and they look just normal on this thing. Like normally when people put big tires on razors or other stuff like that, it looks kind of weird just because it's almost like they can't even turn all the way because the tires are so close to hitting the fender. This thing, it's not like that at all. It turns just fine and still has plenty of power even turning those big tires. I mean, it's just overall looks great with these big tires compared to other ones. It looks like it was made to have big tires when like razors and stuff like that. Some of these things that these guys build, it just does not look that good. And like back to like the kind of like construction and stuff like that. These the arms in the back that almost act like A arms but aren't really. I don't exactly know what they are, but the arms in the back, they're a lot beefier than a razor. So on my grandparents' four-seat razor, we actually bent one of those slightly, and they're pretty small. I don't know the exact diameter, but the ones on this Honda are definitely beefier. Just overall, I think that this Honda is better build quality than than a Razor definitely, and a Can-Am. Honda has been a proven company that's been along for a long time. I mean, they make cars, they make basically anything that's motorized. That Honda has made it, and they're a good, reliable brand. It's just like Toyotas. except Toyotas are a little bit better. But Toyotas are just, you can't beat them. They're reliable. Just whatever you want. Same thing with Honda. Also, same thing with Yamaha. Yamaha and Honda both have great reliability. I have not personally had an experience with the YXZ, so I do not know how this would compare to a YXZ. But from experience, it's definitely way better than a Razor. Like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, the transmission is amazing. Don't have to worry about slipping a belt. The belt on our Razor, when we first bought it, lasts 9 hours, and then the second one lasts 20 hours. So there's like some sort of technique apparently you gotta figure out how to not be so hard on it with the throttle to keep the belts from slipping off. But basically, in just conclusion almost, this thing is just awesome. It looks cool. It drives great. It's reliable. Don't have to worry about the stupid belts. We followed these built Razors. We went everywhere they went, except for like the deep holes, like in hot tub and stuff. This one Razor, we did go in the same hole he did, and we made it out also, in one of the smaller hot tubs, even. But we literally went everywhere these built Razors went, and we made it as easy or maybe even better because we didn't have to figure out how to use the throttle where we where we wouldn't slip the belt. Because we were going to rent a Razor, but that would have been so nerve-wracking of just worrying about slipping a belt. But we rented this, and we were able to just drive it, not even think about it. So that's worth the money in my opinion. And talking about money, the MSRP on the Talon 1000R, I know for a fact, is $21,000. And I do not know the exact MSRP on the Razor, but I do know that a 4-seat Razor is like 30, 35. So I'm guessing that a 2-seat is like 25, maybe even like 28 or something like that. But in conclusion, the thing is fast, it's fun, it's reliable, and it looks cool. I guess I'll see you guys next video. More onboard footage, like in the background of this video, will be coming out soon. Some of it will be a repeat of this video.